So one thing I was talking to Jimmy about is some people see as failures as failure instead of as an opportunity.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you would give somebody advice on to like switch their mindset as a failure is not a failure, it's an opportunity to get better?
Yeah, so Ed Milet has a quote that I really like, and he says, everything happens for you, not to you. And so that's an interesting perspective when you look at it that way. And then obviously the Bible says all things work together for the good of those who love him. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, what good can be brought out of this? And that is a hard question to answer, especially when you're going through it, man. That's a friggin' tough one. What's interesting, and I don't know if this is just humans or I do believe that God did create it this way, but also he puts the lessons inside of the hard stuff. It's like when you think about life and you think about, okay, when did you actually learn lessons? When did you actually grow as a person, grow your capacity, grow who you are? It was usually when you went through the hard stuff. And the harder the stuff that you went through, the more that you went into reflection mode and thinking, what got me here? Now, the interesting thing that I see people do a lot of times is they're going to say, oh, this got me here. I'm never going to do this again. So an example would be like, let's just say my marriage. Oh, I got divorced. I'm never going to get married again. Well, was it the marriage that actually did it? Was it how I showed up in the marriage? So we set these guardrails or like these defense mechanisms to protect ourselves from something that happened when that could be not even the thing that actually happened. But anyway, to answer your question again more directly, it has to do with looking at things as if you want to grow, you have to go through that stuff. You know that you're going to have to go through it. It's not just going to be an uphill thing. And I know that people know that, but remember, and this is something that Alex Hormozy says, is like, this is what hard feels like. It's like, dude, you have to remember that if you want to go through this stuff, this is what you asked for. And I remind myself of that a lot. I asked for this. I asked for this life. So when things get hard, you don't have to be upset about it. You don't have to complain. It's like, dude, I asked for this. When you're running a marathon and you freaking hurt your leg or you got shin splints, you asked for it. You said you were going to do it. So don't sit there and be a victim to your circumstances. Say, all right, I wanted this. I wanted this kind of hard. I wanted this responsibility. Now that it's here, now I get to show real courage and push through it. So
What pushes through? What makes you push through those hard moments?
So for me, it comes back to a purpose. And I believe that God gave me a purpose to be here on this earth. And I think it's ever evolving. And it's always kind of like being revealed to me even more in a different capacity. But that's really what I come down to is like, I believe that God put me here for a reason. I believe that he put every other person here for a reason. And so that's helpful for me to remember whenever I'm going through the hard times. Like, man, this is happening for a purpose and it's growing my capacity for something. I don't even know what it is. But then it's interesting because sometimes it kind of reveals itself. And that's the most beautiful part is when somebody comes to you and you're like, dude, I've been following you now for a year and a half and I started reading my Bible because you said you were doing that. I had no idea that I made an impact, but that could have made an impact on that person's eternity. And God put me in a position to do that. And so that's what really defines for me, like why I go through the hard things